This is Halloween. This is Halloween. Almost. Couple days. So, hi, Math 7. This is lesson 6 from Unit 2, 2-6, word problems. So, a couple of things we need to talk about when we're talking about word problems. Word problems mean that you need to read carefully multiple times. You should never, ever, ever be reading a problem once, because you need to make sure that you're answering the question. You need to pick out the fluff, the stuff that's meant to just throw you off. So you read the problem multiple times at the beginning, at least 2 or 3 times at the beginning, and then always before you move on to the next one, just to make sure that you did answer all the things that the question was asking for. You'd hate to lose credit on something like that. So some more things with word problems. Show all work, write down that expression. Don't forget to write down the expressions. Write things down, if you know what something means, any kind of information you could give me can allow me to give you some partial credit. Write things down so you can earn partial credit. If you're just giving me an answer and that answer's wrong, I have no idea what you did to get it, and you're not proving to me that you know anything. Whereas, if you show me all this work, but maybe you just made a simple adding or subtracting mistake, then I can still give you a lot of partial credit. So yeah, and don't forget to, like always, guys, be using that calculator. We got a lot to remember, and now we're throwing some vocab in the mix. So these four words, they're not going to leave you anytime soon. They're going to come back to you when you have me again in 9th grade, and actually probably for the rest of your math career. So the sooner you memorize these, the sooner you get these straight, the happier you will be in the long run. So first one we're looking at here is sum. And when you see sum, when they're asking you to find the sum of something, they are asking you to use addition. Sum is that addition. So words that you might see in a word problem that mean addition could be things like when they ask you to find a total, when they say stuff like all together, how many do they have in all? We talked about it with mixed numbers when we are saying, when I pronounce a mixed number as 2 and 4/5, that and piece is telling us to add. So yeah, there's probably more that you guys can think of. Normally, if I'm doing this in class, we have a whole discussion and you guys raise your hand and you tell me fun things, but I'm here by myself, alone. So sum means addition. Difference is the opposite of sum. So difference, when you see difference is telling you to do subtraction. Words that could tell you to find the difference or tell you to do subtraction could be how much more. If I have $10 and Jody has $20, how much more does Jody have compared to I? 20 minus 10 is 10. How much more? If they ask you for the change back from paying, the change, or even just the change in any two things, when you're finding how something changed, that's using subtraction there. All right, moving on to product then. Product is your multiplication. Remember, we're no longer using the X to represent multiplication. We're either using the dot or we're using parentheses to represent products or to represent multiplication. Words that might tell you, or keywords in a problem that might tell you about, that you're doing multiplication, are things like when you are given a unit rate. So if you're given something like $5 per book. You're given a unit rate, you might need to do some multiplying to find out how much it would cost for like 20 books. Another one of those, you use multiplication when you're asking for a fraction of something. When they're asking for a fraction of a number. So like if it says, 1/2 of, that is multiplication. You're taking whatever they're asking you to take 1/2 of, so let's say 10, and you're multiplying that, let's use our parentheses like I practice, by 1/2. Well, 10 times 1 is 10, 1 times 2 is 2, 10 divided by 2 is 5. And that makes sense because we know that if you take half of 10, you get 5. So a fraction of something means multiplication also. And then our quotient, last but not least, would be that division. And quotient, you're going to use division when you are finding a unit rate. Which makes sense because division is the opposite of multiplication. So if we're doing multiplying when we have a unit rate, if we're looking for one, we're doing that division. If I bought 20 books, let me fix that. If I bought $5, if I spent $20 on 5 books, I could do 20 divided by 5 to figure out that each book cost me $4. So when you're finding a unit rate, you're using division. Or when the question asks you how many times larger something is, and that's going to come up in your homework. How many times larger, or shall I say in the practice problems. So there we go. We've got division, you find a unit rate, or how many times larger is asking you to do division, because it's asking you how many times can this fit into something else. So there are buzzwords. We're going to look at a couple examples.